Hello, brothers and sisters. The purpose of this video is to share with you an awful lot of information about our plan to have a worship service this weekend. Hopefully this will answer most questions, and hopefully it will help you as you try to decide how and at what level you wish to participate in what we'll be doing together as a church. If I seem to be reading, it's because I am. There is an overwhelmingly large amount of information here. So please bear with me. I hope to look up at the camera from time to time, but there's just so much here. I just can't keep it all in my head. So without further ado, here we go. It is our intention to gather for an outdoor worship service Sunday, May 31st at 10:30 a.m. in the pavilion behind our building. The elders have met several times trying to consider how best to serve the congregation. As we do this, they want to balance our need to gather together to worship God with a desire to keep everyone safe. It is also their desire to encourage us to respect and love one another, seeing as we are a group that is large enough to have real diversity of opinion and perspective on the current situation and threat levels that we face. As most of us know, Donna Godley has contracted COVID-19. She's doing very well, but she has been exposed to and contracted the disease. I spoke with her earlier today, and she suggested to me that she believes the most likely source of exposure was a church service. I spoke with her about the safety measures that we intend to use in our gathering, and she says that she is comfortable with our plans. But this experience serves to remind us that there is risk in what we are doing, and we want you to know about the measures that we are taking to mitigate that risk as much as we possibly can. To begin with, we will start our worship services outdoors. For the first 2 weeks at least, we will meet in the pavilion because we understand that open air helps to dissipate the concentration of viral particles that might be present and therefore reduce the risk of the disease. We recognize that for some who would like to attend, the pavilion may seem like too great a risk. That still might be too much. Because of this, we request that if you intend to worship in the pavilion, that you park some distance away from it so that those who would like to worship in their cars might be able to do so. The first several spaces of the parking that are closest to the pavilion will be reserved with cones for people wanting to do that. Our worship will be carried out in 2 parts. This is important so that you can decide whether you want to be a part of this and of which parts you'd like to be a part of. The first part will be carried out without singing, and the second part will be only singing, or at least primarily singing. There will be a closing prayer. The first part will have an opening prayer, the sermon, the observance of the Lord's Supper, and then a closing prayer. And then the second part will be singing with a closing prayer. Between the 2 parts, we will have a kind of break, an intermission, if you will. This will allow those who do not wish to be part of the singing service, a behavior that admittedly involves a higher level of risk, to leave or return to their cars where they can participate at a greater distance. Now, listen, if you choose not to be involved if you choose to be involved in the first part, but would rather not be involved in the second part, we want you to know that you should feel free to go to your car and carry out your worship there, or to go ahead and head home. We must each decide what level of risk we're comfortable with bearing for ourselves, and we cannot and must not despise one another for having differing levels of risk tolerance with this disease. So if you're there for the first part and then would choose not to be a part of a singing group of people, that's fine. No one is going to look down on you if you decide that activity is simply too risky for you. During the singing portion of the gathering, we do not intend to have masks be mandatory. Anyone who wishes to do so is welcome to wear a mask, but we will attempt to use distance to protect ourselves from the transmission of the disease. We need to let you know a few things about the observance of the Lord's Supper. We will not pass anything from person to person during the worship service. The emblems will be provided in a kind of single-service sealed cup that also contains a communion wafer in a sealed compartment above the seal for the juice. Many of us have seen these before. If you haven't, it's just a piece of cellophane you pull back to get access to the wafer, and then a piece of foil that you pull back to get access to the juice. These will be placed on a table for you to pick up as you enter. And of course, if you are more comfortable doing so, the elders encourage you also to consider bringing your own supplies from home. The offering will not be collected in past plates, but instead there will be boxes available for you to make an offering as you enter or leave. We are trying to reduce the amount of physical contact that anyone is compelled to have with others as much as we can. And the removal of passing anything from person to person seems wise in light of this. We know that the use of masks is a significant point of discussion in our culture right now. The elders want to encourage the use of masks. Donna's experience suggests that this is a good idea. However, the elders don't want this to be seen as mandatory. If you would prefer not to wear a mask, that choice is yours to make. We do ask this, however. There will be an area in the pavilion that will be designated as a mask-wearing only zone. We may need to adjust the size of that area to accommodate those who would like to wear masks, and we will do so on Sunday as necessity requires. We ask that those who sit in this area only do so if they are willing to wear a mask. I'm going to say that again. If you are in the mask-wearing zone, we ask that you only sit there if you are willing to wear a mask. Those who wear masks are welcome to sit wherever they like, but we want to preserve this area of greater caution for those who feel that that's necessary. So if you are not wearing a mask, we ask you to please keep your distance from those who are, and to do this out of respect and love for one another. As of right now, the weather forecast for Sunday is projected to be clear and sunny with only a slight chance of rain. If you own lawn chairs and would like to bring them, please do so. If you own a portable canopy and would like to bring it either for your use or for others to use, please do that as well. There will be some chairs in the pavilion, and of course, if you'd be more comfortable in your own chair, please feel free to bring that. No recliners, please. Well, if you have a reclining lounge, I shouldn't go off script. We will ask that the picnic tables be reserved for families with children so that the kids can have a surface on which to use whatever families bring with them to keep them busy. We recognize that an outdoor worship experience may be challenging for them. If you'd like to help with the setup for Sunday morning, please contact Bill McKelvey and let him know that you're willing to do so. We recognize that not all of us will be comfortable with attending this event. Given the threat that this disease might pose to some of us, the elders want you to know that if you are uncertain about attending the worship service, you are encouraged to stay home. We do not want anyone to feel compelled to be with us. I want you to hear that again. This is probably the only time you'll ever hear a preacher say this, right? But if the risk seems too high to you, please stay home. If you think that the risks are high for you and the wisest thing for you to do is to remain in your home, the elders agree with you and want to encourage you to take care of yourself. You are loved, and we do not want anyone taking risks that they ought not take. It is our sincere hope to stream the service on Sunday morning with an iPhone. We have not used this technology before, and we're still trying to figure it out. If we are able to do it, the service will be live streamed. If we are not able to do so, the elders would like to encourage you to use one of the many sermons that are available on our YouTube channel. There we have sermons that are easily available from as long as 6 years ago. The elders have encouraged me not to record a sermon for this Sunday due to the weight of the workload. On a personal note, I want you to know that what I have observed as I've sat in on the meetings where these decisions have been made. Your elders are such good men. They love God very much, and they also love you very much as well. These decisions have not been made lightly. Over the last month, the topic of how and when and even if we resume public gatherings has taken up the bulk of our meetings. They are very concerned for you, both for your spiritual needs and your need to gather, and also for your physical well-being and for the well-being of the congregation as a whole. These decisions are not made lightly, and they have been working with the best information that they have. Please keep them in prayer, because the responsibility for these decisions is heavy upon us all. May God bless us and keep us safe. May God bless our gathering and our staying at home. May God bless you as you weigh exactly how you ought to do this, and bless you in the decisions that you make. May God bless us all.